It was a case that captivated the nation. The 2017 Michelle Carter was found guilty and sentenced to 15 months in jail after investigators found her text messages encouraging her boyfriend, Conrad Roy, to ultimately commit suicide. Now, her lawyers are asking the Supreme Court to throw out her involuntary manslaughter conviction, saying it violates her right to free speech. So does she have a case? Here to debate it, criminal defense attorney Vinoo Varghese and attorney Ken Belkin. Ken, Vinoo, thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Everyone remembers this tragic, sad case. But now we have not only a new HBO documentary taking a deeper dive that includes Conrad's parents, but not the Carters. We have this appeal to the Supreme Court. Ken, what do you make of this, where this stands?
Well, first of all, look, it's not guaranteed that the Supreme Court is going to hear this case. You know, the Supreme Court sees about 5,900 petitions for writ of certiorari a year. They only hear about 165 cases. I do think the one thing that this case has going for it, where the Supreme Court should hear it, is that states are increasingly legalizing assisted suicide. And at some point, we're going to have to contend with what these conversations mean in a legal context.
Ken, you brought up a good point. This case really wouldn't even be happening but for text messages. Here's an example of one of those from Michelle Carter to Conrad the day before his body was found. Quote, "I thought you wanted to do this. The time is right and you're ready. You just need to do it. You can't keep living this way. You just need to do it like you did last time and not think about it and just do it, babe. You can't keep doing this every day." Heart-wrenching, Vinoo.
Look, this case, this woman should be the poster child for carbon monoxide poisoning. She went in there and she told this guy, pushed this guy in a way that you've never seen before. No case has come out like this. When he hesitated, he stepped out of the cab of his car. He stepped out of his car. She said, "You better effing go back in there, stop BSing." She was saying these kind of things to him to push him to go through this. So this is different than a situation where you're talking about assisted suicide here in that end-of-life decision. This is very direct acts, and words have consequences, and that's what the Massachusetts Supreme Court said. And it's very unlikely the U.S. Supreme Court is going to take this case up.
But let's be clear, words have consequences, but he didn't choke to death on words. He asphyxiated on carbon monoxide, no?
Well, that's why they didn't charge her with homicide, right? Well, they charged her with involuntary manslaughter.
This is something that occurs to me. Involuntary manslaughter. This is the same charge that if you were to get behind a wheel of a car after drinking 12 beers, run someone over and kill them, you would be charged with the same crime. Is what she did the legal equivalent of that?
Well, they're testing, by the way, Vinoo, and these two had a relationship that was largely through messaging, and so that is the precedent. Let me ask you this, though. She's trying to get this thrown out, but she's going to serve time, certainly. Even if the Supreme Court does take it up, she would be out. So why even take this step?
Well, she's already served her time. They gave her like a 15-month or 23-month sentence. She served her 15 months.
She's serving now.
The issue, though, is a legal one, and this is why groups like the ACLU have jumped behind her, saying that it's giving, their issue is a little different. They're saying it's giving prosecutors too much leeway, and I'm usually for, curtailing the power of prosecutors. But in this kind of case, this is the wrong kind of case to bring forward, because this is a very bad person. This is an extreme act. This isn't something that you jump behind and start arguing First Amendment protections for, because this is not protected speech.
Ken, I want to give you a chance to respond, but quickly, this is a statement from Carter's attorney, Danielle Marks, who says Michelle Carter did not cause Conroy's tragic death and should not be held criminally responsible for his suicide. Ken?
I think that's totally true. Look, was her speech wanton and reckless conduct? Was it coercive behavior? Any way you dress it up, it's still speech. It's still dialogue. It's just a conversation on a phone that this guy could have chose to put down, hang up, ignore the text messages. The reality is, it was his decision. He stepped into that car. He took that motorized water pump in the car with him, turned it on, closed the door.
With her help. With her pushing.
She wasn't there.
She was the one who actually directed him to do it.
She didn't put it in the car.
When she told him, she initially gave him support. She initially, when she started encouraging him, was when he wouldn't do something with her. All of a sudden, it changed.
Clearly, we have sparked debate amongst attorneys watching this case for the legal precedent it could set if the Supreme Court takes up, and of course, all of America is watching because of the tragic nature of what has happened to many of us with teenage children too. The social media thing is real. We should be watching it. Vinoo, Ken, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right.